Since there's an election on, pretty much the only thing that can be done about it is to vote for pro-legalization parties.
Yeah!
Regina, and those are the Green Party and the NDP, and I invited candidates from both of those. So the first candidate to speak will be Green Party candidate Greg Chatterson.
Yeah! Woo!
Thanks, Daniel. Well, greetings to the ladies and gentlemen of Normal.
Yeah!
Smokers, the Capel constituency.
Okay, pass it on someone who will.
This city, this province, and around the world.
How's it going?
Pretty good,
As you guys know, most types of hemp have so little THC that you can smoke a whole field of it without getting stoned. So criminalizing the hemp plants was a considerable relief and profit to the four major industries that cannabis competes against: the clothing, medical, forestry, and oil industries. It eliminates a huge economically viable competitor that these guys couldn't control. Cannabis has great diversity in the variety of crops that it produces.
You want to do me a
It's a
favor?
farmer's dream in many ways, this crop. It's a highly competitive plant. It can grow in adverse conditions in otherwise unproductive lands. It seeds itself. It offers natural windbreaks and snow fences.
Can you hand those
Seed
out for
production
me?
is high,
Just give them
as
out.
is the fiber
Fucking
mass
stick them on
of the
people.
stalks. The stalks can be used for making clothes, paper, plywood, building materials, packaging, rope, twine, and the list is pretty lengthy. And these products are all biodegradable, which is nice and green. They don't stick around and cause problems like plastic does. They don't burn with a noxious smoke. The seed and leaf have medical applications that are pretty well known. Many medical applications are presently being used with very little side effects, and I'm sure that most of these people in attendance here would consider the side effects actually a bonus.
Yeah!
The seed's close to the perfect food. It can be crushed, and the oil can be used in kitchens, automotive, and aquatic applications. The plant should be explored for research with government funding and technology, not criminalized for the sake of big industries. And research with lining the pockets of politicians and yes men and big industry. Do not exploit the benefits of the plant as an insult to the herb, to nature, and to those that understand and respect it. I mean, the plant, after all, is a herb. It's a natural plant. It's as natural as the grass and the trees. There's no processing of chemicals. Their crop science or from Monsanto or Dow Chemicals. Its distribution isn't controlled by Cargill or Louis Dreyfus or Walmart. The growers in BC, they're about the best in the world.
Yeah!
Through natural selective harvesting of seeds and decades of research, they've created a product that's so well respected and potent, the BC bud is attracted to the market all over the world. And this is without any government intervention. This is without tax concessions or subsidies. Under the constant threat of being thrown into jail for how they make their living. The knowledge that these people have accumulated should have a university degree attached to it. And in fact, some of the best botanists have a professional background in the sciences. When the crop comes in, so does the economy of the entire region. The influx of money to the local community benefits the local car dealerships, grocery stores, clothing and retail shops, lumberyards, civic groups, athletic groups, and recreational venues. It's already a multi-million-dollar industry, so let's dignify it with legalization and taxation, and use the taxes to benefit the country.
Woo!
We can earmark the taxes so that it's used in education and treatment of substance abuse. Our government's already in the business of production and sales of two other mood-altering substances, tobacco and alcohol. Millions of dollars go into government coffers as a result of these products. And few of those dollars are spent on the care of those who are consumed by those products. If we earmark the tax revenues from the sales of marijuana for the specific use of education and treatment, we could have the best facilities in the world to deal with the education of youth and the treatment of those that are mired in the debilitating substance abuse. This approach should satisfy even the fundamentalists of capitalism, because that extra legal cash from taxes and sales and associated industries would dramatically add to the favorite fixation of the capitalists, which is the gross domestic product, and thus the performance of the economy. It's the criminalization of the weed that's the source of most of the trouble. Not only does it criminalize otherwise honest, productive people, it labels them so that they got trouble getting jobs and crossing the border. At least the American border, anyway. You might want to be afraid of going down there anyway, because after the third possession charge, they'll throw you in jail.
More than I expected. Yeah.
Which is kind of what Mr. Harper has in mind with these mega prisons he's building. $13 billion worth of them. It's the criminalization of marijuana that funds much of the criminal activity around the world today. Drug cartels in Mexico are out of control. They're killing local dignitaries, cops, and local dealers and buyers in an endless turf war for the control of the money and the power, which is something like what our banks and our mega corporations like Lockheed Martin are doing around here. Crime affects countless innocent people and nations caught in the crossfire. And there are drug cartels all over the world. The terrorists are largely funded by the sales of marijuana. How many guns and bombs have drugs bought for the Taliban and for Al-Qaeda? If the international community was serious about stopping all this violence, they take a huge step towards that goal by legalizing marijuana. Take the obscene profits away from the criminal elements, free up the courts, the police, the jails, so that it can be used for more important issues. If the resources could go after the super CEOs of the banks that have gotten away scot-free with taking investors to the cleaners, stealing people's savings, retirement, investments, and dreams, foreclosing on businesses, homes, cars, property, and all kinds, and then giving themselves huge bonuses for being such parasites, laughing in the face of the devastation that they've caused by sipping champagne and slapping each other on the back. These guys are the real criminals.
The reason I definitely wanted this on video is because it's like, even though not that many people are paying attention to him now,
it's been a long haul for the pot smokers in this country.
The shit he's saying is...
And there's very few of them that fire up with any kind of malicious criminal intent in their actions.
Banking system yet?
Not yet.
I guess it would be kind of remiss for me if I didn't mention some of the negative effects of weed too.
Nobody from the NDP?
Overconsumption,
They didn't show.
as in most things,
They didn't show.
has
I don't see
negative
anybody
effects.
from the NDP.
And so it's the same thing with marijuana. It can damage the brain, causing long-term memory loss. It doesn't just wash out of your body in 24 hours like alcohol does. But it hangs on to motor skills such as reaction and physically and mentally.
What's going on?
In many cases, it can cause dysfunction, paranoia, it can cause narrow response to external stimulations.
Not too bad. I'm in the play.
It's an addictive mood-altering drug.
Yeah, you should get down here.
It can lead
Yeah,
to
it's a good show.
harder,
Good
more
seeing.
dangerous
There's
drugs.
political
And it's
speaker
usually to
and
be
other
taken lightly.
speakers and like 200 people here. Yeah. Then a little bit here. Fucking Tifa should
On
be
the other
home if
side
you
of the
want to
coin,
give
it
her a
can
text.
enhance certain social factors. It can cause creativity in the minds of many
All
people.
right, we'll do. All right, we'll do. All right, talk to you later.
Many people can't automatically engage. So when they're trying to develop arts and architecture and problem solving. So it certainly helps out with that sort of stuff. It can be used in spiritual ceremonies all over the ages to bring participants
Should have
closer
brought
to the
another
spirit that
joint.
surrounds us. It's got many medical applications, relieving symptoms of severe diseases. I've used it myself in a medicinal sense. Self-prescribed after my hernia operation. I was given these painkillers, made me dizzy, nauseous, gave me headaches, impaired my vision, balance. Plus, it was incredibly expensive. And I was kind of worried about the undisclosed side effects that it caused. So I acquired an emergency stash and got rid of most of those unsavory symptoms. And it gave me a more pleasant and familiar way of dealing with that kind of pain. Now, I realize that these admissions that I just made over the microphone could get me into trouble with the law, and I'm sure some of these undercover guys around here are taking point on that. But in the same breath, I guess it could get me elected.
Yeah!
What stands here in this park here today is an army. An army that could canvass the entire constituency of Regina Capel in no time flat. You want legalization to happen? Here's your opportunity.
Yeah!
First, we got to replace and hopefully educate this conservative government. Because all that they're doing is turning our internationally respected and caring country into a capitalist mecca for one world government. Harper's building prisons for people just like you. $13 billion worth of prisons. That's just so far. And this is a country where the crime rate's dropping. So who do you suppose these guys want to throw into the prisons? Well, Aboriginal people, of course, because they're about 70% of the prison population already. And they're kind of an easy target because they can't afford lawyers, most of them. Potheads, sure, they aren't going to vote conservative anyway. And there's laws against what they're doing, so you'd expect some of those guys to do.
He just ran up to me one day. I'm like, Courtney! And then...
And this is all part of Mr. Harper's get tough on crime Yankee attitude. So if you smoke pot and you are Aboriginal descent, they pretty well have to go after you. Just for collateral damage. Don't be surprised if there's number of cells reserved for political dissenters as well.
Alright.
Pretty good.
That's kind of like how, you know what, I've given me the phone number like 4 times already, and each time it's been the wrong number.
You guys can give me the opportunity right here and now to get a hold of the documents to justify this massive outlay of cash in building prisons and find out what this basis of this adventure is all about. These conservatives also made it real difficult for a lot of people to vote. You have to have specific identification, at least 2 pieces of ID with a civic address on it, your house number, where you resided long enough to have a piece of ID with that house number on it. Box numbers aren't any good anymore. I actually got some of those notices with me if you want them. So if you haven't got your voting notice yet in the mail, then you got to get to the phone and phone the returning office. The number is 1-800-463-6868, and it's on these posters here. You can find that there. Now we can beat these conservatives at their own game. We can kick them out of this constituency in Regina Capel, at least, and probably out of the rest of the city if we want to. There's a large number of disenfranchised voters in this city, people who are so beat down by the system and disgusted that they don't even want to take part in the election. And the conservatives love that. They don't want people to participate because if there was an uprising in the hood alone of voters, that could tip the balance. So we just got to get the people out to vote, your neighbors, your friends.
If you don't vote, you don't got the right to bitch.
We got to get them moving. And we can do that. That's
You
democracy.
don't vote, you don't have the right to bitch.
And that's the only progressive solution you presently have. And you've been working within this system the entire time to make legalization happen. So make sure everybody's got the proper ID, find out where the poles are, carpool, drive each other to the poles, push truck them and mush them in their wheelchairs if you have to. And vote green. If you get me in your office, I'll be your spokesman.
Woo! Yeah!
It won't be hard. Decriminalization of thousands of people is important to me. Decriminalization offers opportunities that were erased when you got a criminal record. Pot smokers aren't bad people. They got families. They raise their children in loving environments.
It's alright. I don't have anything on me
They
anymore.
deserve respect.
I don't have anything on me anymore.
Of course, if you want the prisons, and you want the designation to be in the criminal element, you've got the God-given right to keep them. All you have to do is stay home, fire up a fatty, play video games, tune out for the day, and maybe just tune back in later on election day to see who lost. And I'll guarantee you, it'll be you who lost. We still got a long haul ahead of us, but maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And electing green representatives could get a little bit closer to that light. So we got 11 days left to take this seat away from the dark side, change the history of this country forever. So this is the opportunity to give your children a future that you guys only dreamed of. I got a cell. No, not 550-6540. Or my email is gchatterson@sastel.net. And I got a bunch of cards here you guys can have. They've got that on there. Anybody wants one? They're right there. So who would ever thought the potheads are going to win an election and change history in Canada?
Yeah!